So people tell me, okay, Ron, okay, what's the first step to becoming an extreme performer? Well, the first step may shock you. You know, people are so anxious to get going. Okay, tell me what I need to do. What are the first steps? What do I need to buy? Well, hold on a second. You know, when you start looking at where you want to go, you also have to realize where you are. But that's still not enough. Think about this analogy. If you call the airlines today, what are the first two questions they're going to ask you? They're going to ask you where are you flying from and where are you going to. Then they ask you the third question. When do you want to fly? When do you want to get there? You see, you've got to answer those three questions when you start getting engaged in anything. If you want to start improving your life and move forward, you have to pause and start thinking about yourself and your life. You know, I was challenged back years ago when I started manifesting my personal greatness, as they say, being in the cab, start devouring tapes, learning English, listening to Les Brown and Zig Ziglar and Brian Tracy, start learning by heart sentences so I can communicate with my customers. That's how I learned English. But that's how I started to manifest my personal greatness, as we're going to help you do the same. If you're starting looking at yourself, it's hard. It's hard to look at ourselves because it may be painful. We may introduce ourselves to some areas that needs to be improved. Maybe areas that held us back for a long time. You know, my past held me back for a long time. My childhood was very difficult. I lived in a strong household with strong military rules. My dad loved me, but he used a different philosophy on how to grow a child. I grew with a lot of insecurity, lack of love, lack of attention. When I was 16, my dad passed away, and that opened up a whole array of confusion into my life. Didn't know if to mourn for my loss or to be happy for not having to be abused. Age 22, I came to America after serving 4 years in the Israeli military. Without direction, with no goals, with no end in mind, just one thing, to be like you, to live in America, live in the greatest country in the world. But you see, we have to see who we are first. See, who you are got you where you are. If you want to change where you are, we have to change us first. That's what I was told. I was challenged by a stranger I met years ago who asked me the question, Ron, how bad do you want to change your life? Because it's not going to be easy. You're going to have to focus on the areas that you have to change. Nobody wants to change. I didn't want to change. It's painful. It's not easy. And it takes a lot of time. It takes a lot of effort. So back to the airline question. Where are you at? What are some of the areas that you have to change? And you may not be able to answer it by yourself. You may need to have a coach, a trainer, or invite us to your world and help us do that for you. And then where do you want to go? And then how soon do you want to get there? You see, that's not even enough. Those three questions or three answers are not enough. Because if your goal was to get to the Hawaiian islands and you're flying from Los Angeles, the best car in the world cannot get you there. So you have to look at your resources, your tools. What's available for me? What do I need to buy? What do I need to purchase? What are some of the areas that I need to have in place in order to get me from my point A to my point B in a timely manner? You know, I'll give you another example. If you wanted to build a home and you only had a hammer and a nail and a ladder, well, you can achieve that goal, probably not in your lifetime, but that's an achievable goal. So you got to look at what's my point B? What are the resources? What's my timelines? That's where we're getting into goal setting. You see, we haven't started doing anything about your extreme performance. But we have laid the foundation for helping you become that extreme performer.